and I have memories longer than the road that stretches out ahead. Hey YouTubers, this is John Stanek from Johnny Radio, and I am here with my good friend of many years, Marc Mahan, who's an awesome guy, and he makes movies, he writes things, he's a world traveler, he knows a lot of things about trees, and he is going to be very soon in Malawi, Africa, with the Peace Corps, and very proud of him about that. He and his wife are going to be doing some awesome things there. So yeah, super cool guy, and we are here today to talk to you about one of our mutual favorite albums of all time, the Beatles' Let It Be. And man, where do we begin? I guess to not talk too long, we're going to just talk about each one of our favorite songs, our least favorite, and then what we think is the most underrated song on the album, which there's a lot of them, like two of us being one of those. You don't hear that enough, I think. I mean, you never hear it on the radio, but we use it as a soundtrack to our trip to England and Scotland, because it just made sense. Two of us picking latches and whatever we were doing over there, right? Mm-hmm. So, good time. So let's start off. I'll give you the first shot as far as what is your favorite song.
My favorite song has to be Across the Universe. But as great as a song as that is, I actually preferred the song that's on the Blue album. It's a little slower tempo.
The Greatest Hits collection, mm-hmm. for those that aren't aware.
Mm-hmm. So this is a great song, but it sounds a little too fast for my ear.
I hear you. Yeah, actually, that would be my first pick too. I think it's one of John Lennon's best songs, and definitely one of the Beatles' greatest songs, no doubt. And yeah, I'd go with you too. I think the Blue album version is better, mainly because of the tempo, and I'm going to go with Let It Be, the title track, which also I feel that the Blue album version is a little better because George's guitar solo, I think, is a little more focused on that version, but none can deny the greatness of the title track, Let It Be. I mean, it's just beautiful, one of Paul's greatest ballads, and I'm going to go from there into my least favorite, which is another Paul ballad, and that is The Long and Winding Road. And I don't care what version it is, I just think it's just a little too sappy, too long and whiny. The Long and Whiny Road is
I would say the all that you're complaining about is Phil Spector's orchestration that he added to it. The Let It Be Naked version is a much better version of The Long and Winding Road.
Don't get me started on Let It Be Naked, Rocky Raccoon. Because Let It Be Naked should not even exist, in my opinion. It was, I think, not fair of Paul McCartney to re-release this album after John and George already passed away and put it in the order that he thought and change songs around. That's my opinion. What were you gonna say?
I believe it's a much more a better representation of what the band put together at that time. It's as nature has intended it to be heard.
Well, there's some truth to that, because like you said, Phil Spector, he, with this Let It Be album, he actually picked out the songs, the running order, and he called all the shots on the production. And like we both mentioned, the Blue album versions of Let It Be and Across the Universe are better. So, all right.
So my probably least favorite song, or that's what would be, believe it or not, for people who know me, they know I'm a big Harrison fan. I would actually say I Me Mine. On its own, it's a really great song, but it doesn't really mesh with the other songs on this album. It just doesn't have that same rawness. It sounds a little bit too polished.
I can see that. See that. And I think, like we were discussing earlier, George, one of our also mutual favorite albums as George's All Things Must Pass, and it seemed like, you know, with all the derision that was going on with the band at the time, George was kind of already looking forward and saying, you know, screw this, I'm going to save up my best songs for my first album, and
so here I'll give you "I'll Be Mine."
Yeah, exactly. Which is not a bad song by any means, but yeah, I think the orchestration is a little over the top.
And just in comparison to his other contribution to the Beatles, this, you know, it's not the best.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay, and yeah, I think I mean, For You Blue is. Also, maybe one that could be seen as kind of a throwaway Harrison song, but I think it's good.
I like it.
It's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Definitely. The thing with Let It Be is there's really not a bad song on it, and I'm going to throw in my Ringo burn now. Mm-hmm. This is the one album that there's no Ringo songs, so I think you can't go wrong there. You disagree?
Well,
I love the Ringo.
I do like the Ringo.
Yeah, he likes Ringo.
I'm actually a fan of some of his solo work, and
great drummer.
Yeah, and personally, I know your previous review of Abbey Road, you talked about every song, but interestingly enough, you left off Ringo's contribution. This is Garden.
What it is, I didn't mean to leave it out, but just that the song doesn't stand out to me.
It's a delightful song.
It is a delightful song. Probably his best written Beatles song, I think. Mm-hmm. Probably. I don't know. Act Naturally is good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But back to Let It Be.
Yes.
The unsung heroes on this album for me would be I've Got a Feeling. It's definitely one of my favorites, and it never gets enough radio play. It never gets radio play.
Absolutely, yeah, and the interplay of Paul and John on that song is great. Just like on Two of Us, the way that they do the harmonies on that one, you would never know that this was a band that at the time of making it was really like they hated each other basically, and I mean there's so much joy throughout the record. One After 909, another one that's, you know, just real fun, upbeat. Of course, they had written it back in the early Beatles days, but yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, and talking about that, this is made during the time that they were really breaking apart. This was really, Let It Be is the album in which they broke up, but also their solo careers were, you know, came to fruition, because a lot of the first songs on their solo albums were actually first recorded during the Let It Be sessions.
Yeah.
For George stuff and Paul stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, for underrated for me, Maggie May and Dig It don't really count as real songs, I don't think you could say. But I would have to go with Dig a Pony. I just love the absurd lyrics, and I just love how fun the chorus, the "all I want is you," and then everything has got to be just
good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh yeah. So hey, while we're on the topic of Let It Be, tell us the story of your dad.
That's right. So my dad was working in a record distribution center when Let It Be came out, and he actually got an advanced copy of it, months before the public got to hear it, and he was all excited. He put the needle on the record, listened to it, and his first reaction was disappointment. He just didn't think it was that well produced. It sounded like a throwaway album to him, and he was very disappointed. And he has come around over the years on it, but he's never forgotten that first initial disappointment.
Yeah.
For Let It Be, which is now one just considered,
Can you believe that? I mean, I could imagine that at the time, being the album that came out after Abbey Road in that order, I guess I could see how sonically it might be a little bit of a letdown, because it sounds like just some guys throwing together some stuff in a garage, but I think that's what makes it a great record. And like you were saying, I, Me, Mine, and Long and Winding Road on this version are a little overproduced, and they kind of feel a little the most out of place. Although there's really not a bad song on it. I think it's, to me, I would say my third favorite Beatles record of all time, and that's really saying something because they have so many great albums. I give it a 9 out of 10. What would you give it as a grade if you had to? I know you don't really like...
I really don't. I'm an all or nothing guy, so I would give this a 10.
Man, a 10 out of 10. Look at this guy go. And anything else you want to say, or?
Hey, dude, I'm racking my brain trying to think of something. I've got nothing.
All right, I think you said enough.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Subscribe, like, and all that jazz. And Viva La Vinyl. Wish Mark happy trails on his trip. We hope to see him again in a couple years. And let it be, everybody. Go listen to it. If you haven't heard this album, I don't know what's wrong with you. You need to listen to it now. See ya.